Hello and welcome to the Summernats podcast, the official show of the world's wildest car festival. My name is Josh Bennis, aka J Benz, and I'm joined by my mate, car judge extraordinaire Owen Webb. Webby, what's happening?
How are you, mate? I've had another good week. Look, I said 3 weeks in a row. I've had a great week. I've done more work on my XY, and I've just about finished it. So really happy. And I've also had a pretty quiet week isolating, but I've been working on a few podcasts. So I've got some great stuff coming up. And the other thing I've been doing is just trying to get enough money together to buy Virgin. I've just been trying to get that. So can you help me out a bit on that?
Yeah, I can, mate. I'll give you $50. You can give me maybe 10 or 20 shares in that. Hey, what do you reckon?
Yeah, awesome.
That'd go just about good in your stable of bag of tricks, an airline company, Webby, I reckon.
There you go. Let's go.
Shipping show cars around the world. There you go.
Awesome.
Awesome. One of the things still to come with this show is the name, obviously. So we want to see you guys this week pump some names in the comments, and from them we're going to pick a name and name it next week. So next week we'll have the name. We're really keen for that. Got any ideas for a name, Webby?
No idea, because all the ones that you've come up with are so dud, mate. So I'm just waiting for somebody else that's a bit smarter than me.
That's why we're going to leave it to the creative people watching on now. So I think
Exactly.
that's the best way to go with it. All right, later on we'll have our quiz, and we'll be crossing to Marv from Street Machine and have a quick chat to him about what's happening with those guys, as well as hear this week's crazy rant. And just after that, Marv will give away 3 season passes, as well as a main prize of a double season pass and a Street Machine gift pack. Now, the way to get in the running for them is to get in the comments and comment early. People will be selected from the comments, and it's that easy. And also, tonight we've got a mad show. So first off the rank is the pair that went head-to-head on the Dyno back at Summernats 32. What an event, what a Dyno event that was. Pretty much reinvigorating the whole situation there. Dale Heiler with the twin-turbo VX Commodore and Mark Hinchelwood with the AC Delco Holden Monaro. Both of those guys will be on at the same time, so that should be a mad cracker. Also, we've got coming after that is the Grand Champion of Summernats Grand Champions, Peter Fitzpatrick. Just how many titles has Fitzy won, Webby?
He's actually won 6, mate. So that's we had to change the rules. It was a bit like the St George Rugby League team, mate. We had to change the rules so he couldn't keep winning forever.
Is that 6 wins and 6 big checks for Webby, or that's a?
Not quite. 6 checks for Fitzy.
Yeah, true story. That can't wait for that. All right, we're going to throw this week to a skid ad, and we'll be
skid ad.
This skid ad is brought to you by Maguire's.
All right, skid ads are a nice way to mix up the ads from the old school ones that we were doing. That was Daryl Ferguson in Smoke and Rat. Right, here with me now is Dale Heiler and Mark Hinchelwood. Both of you guys live and breathe drag racing. How's the relationship going after butting heads at Summernats 32?
Oh, I absolutely hate him.
I think he's still a bit butthurt, but, you get that.
Nah, look, we're good mates. We had a good time. Summernats 32 was an absolute hoot. I got to say, the blowing cars blew the roof off of Summernats 32. What do you reckon, Dale?
Yeah, all noise.
The front?
All noise, no horsepower. Nah, like it was unreal. Like the whole thing. at Summernats there, it was crazy. Like the people were just so close to the action, could hear it, could feel it. It was an awesome thing. It was, you guys put it all on. It was unbelievable to be a part of it.
Yeah, it was definitely a massive spectacle, and I think that'll go down in history. That whole that it's like you call it rivalry or whatever, but it was at the end of the day it was two showcases of just craziness.
Yeah, well, everyone's either a turbo guy or they're a supercharged guy,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Now the AC Delco got two cars, maybe Summernats 34, they might, bring the spare car down and have another crack.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, there is not a rodent, a cockroach, a bug left in that building after the AC Delco Pro Slammer lifted the roof off that joint. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's the only reason I got headphones on is because I'm blowing my hearing out. I can't hear nothing no more. So.
Yeah, hey, true story. One of our crew actually ruptured an eardrum inside the building. So
wow.
that's how loud it actually was.
Yeah. Just to talk to both of you guys, I guess I'll start with you, Dale. Where does your passion for cars come from? I know you live and breathe this stuff.
Oh, it comes from obviously it gets handed down from your dad, and then my uncle was into cars and all that stuff, so I've sort of been around them forever, and then it just sort of took off from there, so it's from the moment I was pretty much born, I was around a car.
What was your first car?
Mine was a 1979 Toyota Corolla.
Right, nice.
And my uncle built a pretty hot little 4K for it, and it was a good little thing to bash around in. You smash gearboxes and diffs every weekend and then spend all week fixing it and back out again in the weekend and do it all again.
How about yourself, Mark?
I don't want to talk about my first car, but my second car was a LH Tirana small block Chev 9-inch and actually 4 IDA downdraft Weathers.
Wow.
Kind of a unique deal. So my first car was actually a Mini, but we won't tell anybody that. But yeah, LH Tirana, Holden boy through and through.
And where does that passion come from? Is that something that stemmed from handed down as well?
Well, actually, funny, just listening to Dale there, I'm thinking, my parents had record shops, not a mechanical bone in either of their bodies. No, I walked into an auto parts store at about 16 years of age with a job wanted ad on the window, got a job at this auto parts shop that started that week, and literally that was it. That was a turning point in my life and motorsport ever since. And like Dale, live and breathe it every single day.
Yeah, right.
Day onward.
Yeah, I was going to say, the next part I was going to say, you guys do this for a living now with cars. Like also, it's not just a hobby, building cars and racing them as well. But you guys literally do this for a living. Dale, you want to give a bit of a backstory in terms of like, you and your business and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, we've been running there for 15 odd years, doing the performance mods on cars and stuff. So, we've been buying hose and fittings off market from his shop for 15 years. Actually, I don't think I've ever bought hose and fittings from anywhere else, to be honest with you. But, so we do everything. LS market is a big thing for us. The Ford market with the Barra and all that's a big market as well. People think I hate them, but they're actually not a bad thing. We do a bit of everything. So it's not bad. It's going all right at the moment, even with all this COVID stuff. But it's going to be a pretty tough time for a lot of people out there at the moment. So we're pretty lucky that we are still busy. So we're kicking along.
Yeah, awesome. And Mark, I was talking to you yesterday, and you were telling me a bit about your business and stuff and how that sort of ties into a lot of what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm lucky. I'm one of those guys that actually gets up in the morning and actually loves going to work. Love mixing it up with guys like Dale. We've made some fantastic friendships, and we are friends through and through. So yeah, my deal started literally when I was 15. Auto parts store. Managed to buy the partner out and then upscaled, moved to Australia actually as a result of going to the Winter Nationals back in '96 and sold up the business, moved over. My mother at the time thought I was having a nervous breakdown and true story, man. I packed my bags and I was gone. I came over to the Winter Nationals and that was it. It just blew my socks off. Drag racing on a monster scale. Man, I got to have a bit of this. So I moved over. Unfortunately, at that time, moved into Sydney where there wasn't a racetrack at the time. And man, I saw the fruition of the Western Sydney Dragway start off 2004 when it kicked off. Man, I was there day one at that track, green track, and I've been racing there ever since. So had some highs and lows at Sydney Dragway as well. But hey, I'm a diehard drag racer. Just like Dale, mix it up. In fact, I love any type of motorsport. If it makes a noise, if it smokes the tyres, I'm freaking into it.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Dale, I see through your social media, sometimes you get around the world doing this stuff. Like I've seen you go to Malta and stuff like that. What's that all about? That must be super interesting.
Yeah, it's good fun. I'll just go over there and, with customers that I've worked with for a few years, they're like, "Oh, come over and give us a hand." So, go over there and work on their cars, and usually 9 times out of 10 we have good luck. Sometimes it doesn't go to plan every time, but most of the time, everyone runs a bit quicker and we have a bit of fun and drink a heap of beer, and it's good.
Definitely. Well, yourself, Mark, you were also saying that people might think that you would obviously with drag racing, but you also ride into speedway as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been fortunate enough to drive some pretty cool cars, funny cars, altereds, and obviously the AC Delco Pro Slammer, but also mix it up in the dirt as well. So I've got a Winged 410 sprint car. I'm terrible at it. I often say to my crew, "Hey, I'm going to win tonight at the tail end," and that's cool. We'll come in, we've got smiles on our faces, we have a great time. We mix it up with our customers. Just interestingly enough, I've never had an invite from Dale to do one of his overseas tours. So Dale, here's
okay. Talk in the green room, I guess, about that.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like, even if it's a bad day at the racetrack, it's still better than a good day at work. So,
Mark, also you tell me that you're also into mountain biking and anything adrenaline sport, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love throwing myself off a cliff down a mountain face on 2 wheels. Absolutely. I've got a couple of things on the bucket list that I want to tee off. I'd like to do a nice 40 or a 50-foot gap jump. Would be pretty cool on my mountain bike. That'd be pretty awesome. Getting pretty close to that, so we're sending it pretty big. But hey, anything motorsport related, I just love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, why walk when you can run? Why run when you can race? Hey, let's have a race. Let's make it a series.
Yeah, awesome. 100%. Dale, I know. Every year I look forward to your Christmas parties with your crazy Christmas parties with sending it pretty hard. Which one's been your highlight, mate? You want to?
Oh, dude, it'd have to be the Mitsubishi Mirage, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That thing just wouldn't die. So throwing bolts down the area and say you could hear the engine eating up the bolts, but the thing just kept running. Like, even after all that, it still ran. Caught fire, everything. It was unreal. That's probably the highlight. The Falcon was pretty average. It only went for a minute or two and it was all over.
What about this year, mate? Don't know.
I don't know. Are we going to be allowed to do anything like that this year? Hope so. But
who knows, mate? I'm sure.
I reckon a Barra's on the plan for this year.
Yeah, right.
We should be able to get a BA or something pretty cheap to put the rods out. Someone's got to actually hold the side of the block. Otherwise, it hasn't happened yet, and it needs to happen.
just to touch with you, Mark. Some people might know too. In 2015, you were involved in a bit of an accident. Motorsport can be quite a serious situation, I guess. Do you want to talk about that and give us a bit of an insight into, how your recovery and stuff? I know has been quite interesting, and how you help actually helping other people through their yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2015, I was involved in an onboard fire in a funny car. As a result, decided to jump out of the car. That was the first stupid mistake, and I copped that one. So I jumped out of the car at they estimate somewhere between 70 to 100 kilometers an hour. That wasn't too big a deal, but getting caught inside the parachutes because I'd already deployed the parachutes and hadn't shut the car down properly, another mistake. So I actually went for a ride inside the parachutes through the finish line at Sydney Dragway, broke my neck and pulled my shoulder out and ended up in a pretty bad way. Had a fantastic wife and support, family, friends, people like Adrian from Summernats, Dale, a great team at Motorsport Connections, put me through it. During that whole deal, I wrote this amazing blog, Mark versus Halo, talking about my rehab, my rehabilitation and the bad days, man. And I tell you what, there were some pretty bad days when you've got a halo bolted to your skull and every couple of weeks you're having it screwed actually into your skull. Was pretty wild time. But as a result, wrote this blog which has gone around the world, been shared by thousands of people. I get calls from doctors and so forth, and people going through the same thing because there's just not a lot of information out there for halo recipients. Because if first of all, if you're in a halo, you've actually survived. So big thumbs up. But man, it is a tremendous journey. 3 months bolted into one of those things, I can tell you, just about tore me apart. So wrote this deal, and now as a result, I actually get quite a few emails from people all around the world that have been in this, bad way, which is actually a good way because they've lived, and they thank me for some of the stuff. And some of the stuff, man, like, when you get a book on how to have sex with a halo brace on, it's like, whoa, okay. So
yeah,
it's obviously how to eat, how to sleep, how to get in and out of bed, how to wipe your bum. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. So, yeah, look, it's fantastic. What I will say is, man, hats off to Morris and Mary Fabietti for a start, because normally when a race car driver decides to jump out of a car, and if he's actually survived, his race car career is tanked, and I mean tanked. So to get a call from Morris Fabietti, hey, I want you to drive my car. True story. I actually said, what car? What, the tow car? What do you want me to do? He said, man, I want you to drive the Slammer. I mean, what? I jump out of these things, right? He said, oh, man, we're fitted central lock into that thing to race it out, because they've got us a whole kit and caboodle for you. You ain't going to be jumping out of that car. I'm like, okay, so that sounds pretty cool. But fast track into actually the door slammer deal, I'm like, okay, well, it should be pretty easy. I've driven funny cars. I've driven Alters. I've driven some pretty wild stuff. Man, door slammers are off tap. They are absolute. These things are animals. If you haven't been to a drag race meeting, go. When we come out of this COVID-19 rubbish and we actually get to start going out to events like Summernats, come out to a drag race meeting and experience the show, because it's wild. It's fast. It's noisy. It can be a bit smelly. That was what my wife would say with the tire smoke. But man,
burn your eyes.
Awesome. And drag racing is one of the one things that you can actually get into the pits and actually watch guys as they're actually working on the cars. We've even had people actually holding engine parts when we've been doing motor swaps. Yeah, just hang on to that supercharger whilst we actually put the supercharger on. Man, it's awesome. And as Dale will say, man, we're one big family. We're busting our backsides to try and do a motor swap. We've got crew coming over. What do you need? Well, man,
yeah,
it's just awesome.
Seems like a one in all in sort of, once you're there at the event, everybody sort of helps each other.
Absolutely. And that is so unique to drag racing, because in a lot of other motorsports, it's shutters down. You can't get in. It's exclusive, access and all that sort of stuff. But drag racing, you're just there and you're living in the moment, man. And when that car is on the track and you're looking for every type of, every bit of traction to send that car, that thing is on the limit. And pro slammers, and I think Dale would back me up on this, they are absolutely running on the raggedy edge of out of control. And that brings me back to Fab saying, drive my car. Yeah, no worries. Man, just trying to do a burnout on one of those things is hard work. So hats off to Morris and Mary, because, man, it's been an absolute roller coaster ride ever since, and I'm loving the deal.
Yeah, 100%. That was going to... So... Just to you, Dale, on that, like, what's going through your head mid-track? Like, what are the crazy? Tell people, like, what's the crazy sensation of being a drag racer?
Mark's got a tyre about this wide. We run on a tyre about this wide, and I've got more horsepower than him. So, we got with the pro radial car, they are literally on the edge of traction the whole way down the track.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't have a good race meet at the start of this year, but we still ran a PB. But yeah, you're just hanging on. You're literally waiting for it to spin the tyres, and if it doesn't, well, you didn't put enough horsepower in it. So, bad job, tuner, bad job. Put more in it, go out again.
At Summernats 32, there was a lot of hype around the event. Obviously, the hype was on fire, I guess. And you guys battling it out on the dyno, this really reinvigorated the dyno, I guess, in a sense. We've got a bit of a video, so we're going to have a bit of a look at that.
We are here in the MPW Performance Dyno Cell for Haltech Horsepower Heroes. And one of the big attractions this year is the Turbo versus Blower Shootout. The big boys have come to play. We've got the AC Delco Fabietti Racing Top Alcohol Pro Slammer, and we have Castle Hill Performance with their twin turbo big block VT Commodore. And those guys are duking it out for ultimate power bragging rights. I do believe that Mr. Hinchelwood may have referred to turbos as only being good for drying people's hair. Dale just came, he's a man of few words, because he just came out and said that blowers suck.
28.08 on the mainline 3000 Hub Dyno at Summernats 32. The AC Delco Pro Slammer team could not be happier. We are absolutely pumped. 28.08. I don't think Dale's got a chance. It's blowers all the way, baby. So 28.08. You reckon you got it?
Yeah, I'm going to go 29.
You can opt out now. You can bow if you want.
Turbo wins again. I was going to say, I thought they had me by a horsepower. I can't wait to get back in and drive it again now. I'll see if it's got anything left in it. If it does, I'll put a bit in it and see if we can maybe get 2900 or something like that.
All right, that was mad. Such a cool, memorable moment in Summernats history, which will go down, I think, forever, unless you guys want to battle it out again, you know, at some stage, surely.
Oh, I'm keen. I'm always keen. Not usually one for racing dynos, but, you know, why not? That's probably the only way I'm ever going to beat him down a track, I suppose.
Absolutely. We won't bring one AC Dalco Pro Slammer this time. We'll bring two.
Yeah. Better get some sea rotors for him because you're going to need them.
just in the build-up to Summernats Dale in the VX, tell us about the preparation for that.
We didn't actually do too much because the car had been together. The engine had been in it for probably 6 months by then since its last little freshen up. So, yeah, we didn't do too much. We honestly didn't think it'd make that much power. Like we knew Mark had made, well, the AC car had made close to 2,900 in Sydney here on mainline dyno before they went down. So we thought, I don't know whether we're gonna make that much. We all thought, 2,600 will be stoked, you know. And when it rolled up 2,600 on the first day, we were like, we'll get after it now. And then to make nearly 3,000 was a bit of a shock, really. But I didn't think a conventional headed big block would make that much. But yeah, and then to make 3,400 and 3,470 this year, I definitely didn't think it'd make that. But like I know it'll make 3,600 next year. So
I remember talking to you at Summernats and I said, "What's you go? I should make a tad over 3,000." Then I was just like 3,400.
We bought some billet cylinder heads the other week, so we got a nice pair of Alan Johnson cylinder heads to go on it, and a few other bits and pieces which will should get it there.
Yeah, nice. Tell us about the preparation for the AC Delco Holden Monaro, Mark.
Okay, so for Summernats 32, we want to do something really cool. So Morris Fabietti had been putting together a brand new car, which we actually debuted this season. So we actually unveiled it at Summernats 32. So most of our work and preparation, to be perfectly honest, was on the brand new car. And man, for anybody out there that has built a car from scratch, every nut and bolt, this isn't Kmart shopping. This is every single thing is custom. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to guys that can go out and buy parts. And I have to say, like, sprint car racing typically can be Kmart shopping because you can buy any componentry, and it will bolt on. Pretty much any part. When you build a drag car, a custom drag car, and it's not a Bickle car or something from a known US manufacturer, Morris wanted to use. He's very, very passionate about Australian made. He wanted to build it in Australia, and that's what he did. So he contacted people like Murray Anderson, who built a good car. So every single component on that car was built. Took well over 12 months. So our preparation, to be honest with you, was building that car. And Dale will, he'll back me up on this one. That's a big friggin' job, man. It really is. So the other thing is also we were racing in Sydney, I believe, actually, I think a week after or might have been 2 weeks after Summernats. The other thing is, and I'm not making excuses, I don't do that, but we actually...
Here we go.
hang on. We heard it, we actually, God's honest truth, we heard a camshaft at Summernats on the first night, actually, when we fired it in Sydney, took it all the way down there, we fired it at Summernats, and you know that saying, I should have brought the garage because it always worked good in the garage? Man, well, we'd done a camshaft. The problem was, we didn't have a spare camshaft. So we had to get someone to race a camshaft down from Sydney. So, man, we were already on the back foot. Now, again, I'm not making excuses. Dale did a great job. Hats off to Castle Hill Performance. But that's where we're at. So, look, our preparation truly was in the unveiling of the new car. At Summernats also, not only were we doing the Dyno deal every day, but we were also doing startups with the brand new car as well.
Yeah.
So we kind of had our backsides hanging out, but hey, we had a fantastic time. I was trying to think about my memory of Summernats 32 actually before we came on air. It was margarita slushies, dust in my mouth after the margarita slushies, hot and noisy. Man, it was noisy. Oh, and LSs everywhere. Everything's got an LS in it.
Perfect. All right, thanks for coming on the show, guys. I'm sure everybody's ready for a round two, as they say. The gloves are off and whatnot.
I guess then it all depends on the racing schedule for next year. Like,
yeah, of course,
it all lines up and it all works. And Morris has got the budget to do it, because it's not cheap running one of those Hemi engines. They're not cheap. They wear out quick. So, whereas our trusty big block, it was in the car for 18 months before we pulled it out and fixed it after Summernats this year. Whereas the Hemi, they're every 15 passes they're pulling out, putting rods in it, and we're doing 60 on a set. So.
When it happens,
you never know. But it might all happen again. I hope it does, because it was awesome. I'd love to do it again.
Absolutely. I'm there, definitely.
You guys are going to battle it out in the quiz after Fitzy's interview, so stick around. Sweet.
Right. Sounds good.
All right, we'll be back. We're throwing to another skid ad.
Skid ad. This skid ad is brought to you by Street Machine. Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Great interview from the boys there. Dale and Mark. It was really good. So now we're going to have a bit of a chat with Fitzy. A lot of people would know Peter, obviously, from Summernats. So how you enjoying isolation, mate?
No, well, actually, I'm still working, mate. So I must be essential. So still plodding away. So yeah, it's but it's different, but we all got to do it. And as I say, we'll all come out the other end, and let's see what happens at the other end.
Yeah, it's quite different times, mate. I'm just looking at your background there. It's obviously you're in your garage at home, I would say.
Yeah, mate, out in the shed. That's a good place to be, isn't it? That's where we all should be most times. And we all spend a lot of time out here, so, yeah.
I know you spend a lot of time there, which we'll get into in a minute. So I want to know, was your first memory of Summernats, and which event was it?
The first memory of the Summernats? Well, the first one was when Chick just took it over from when it was the Street Machine Nationals. I was actually working there as one of the chief scrutineers,
That's right.
and had the old Brougham there and against Peterson and all the crew, and that was probably a good memory. And when Victor come down in his 57 and done a big skid up the where the old skid row up in front of where all the tents are. Yeah, they were pretty good memories, and the guys doing donuts there, like Graham Cowley in his HRU decided that I can do a donut here. So yeah, they were good days. They were good days. You remember them?
I do. That would have been the first event, right?
Yeah, one of the first.
Unreal, mate. I was thinking about just you in the past. Actually, how many Summernats have you been to?
Every one except one, because Chick decided he'd change it one year, and we'd always booked to go water skiing up at Foster.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And he changed the dates because he got it away from New Year a bit, and left it to the sort of last minute. And we booked 12 months in advance to go water skiing, and I love me water skiing. So we missed one. And
Yeah, well,
I've missed one since 1975, since the Street Machine Nationals.
Yeah, mate, that's pretty awesome. You worked it out pretty early that not only do you have to have a car that judges well, but you have to know how to drive it if you want to win Grand Champion. And I was just interested in the way that how you worked that out. I reckon you must have done a bit of planning in the early days. Would that be correct?
Yeah, well, I when I built the FC, I built it for one main thing, is to go. I didn't care about the judging or anything like that. I wanted to go to Summernats to win it. And I built it to drive it and built it to use it, so it stopped and handled and went fairly well as well. So a lot of the guys, when they build their cars, they don't sort of drive them, and they don't know what they're going to do. And so I planned it around. I went there to win Grand Champion. I didn't care about anything else. That's what I went there to do. I knew it was going to drive well, it was going to handle well. But in saying that, the first drive that I had on it was from my place down to the Summernats, so it hadn't been driven far. But the way that I built it, I knew it was going to handle, and knew it was going to stop, and knew it was going to go okay.
Yeah, and did you do a bit of, obviously not for that event, but for some of the ones after, did you do a bit of pre-planning, like some of the driving events? Did you practice those before the actual event?
No, I never did really. But we'd always had a couple of club days in our Street Machine club, and then we'd do we'd actually do a bit of driving events. And we used to go out to Exhibition Park and have our Christmas parties out there for our car club, the Street Machine Club, and we'd do the driving events where they have the Skid Row now, where they do the burnouts and Tough Street. We'd do it in the bitumen. So it was that was even a bit better, because you'd be doing the slalom in the bitumen. It was pretty good fun.
Yeah. I don't reckon that anybody will probably ever equal you 6 times actually as Grand Champion. It's pretty amazing. So did you have is there one that really sticks out in your mind of those 6 for some reason?
Yeah, I think it was probably the 9th, when I won the 9th Nationals. I'd have guys in it. We're doing that. You had to do the Spear of Spud, and you had to do all the driving events. And I put my mate in the car, and I said to him that when you're doing the Spear of Spud, I said, if you miss a spud, you've got to eat what's in the car, because if you miss a spud, they'd end up deducting a few points off you. So we actually done the driving events, and one of the Street Machine photographers was there. And actually, after I'd done the Spear of Spud, we went around the last gate, and as we come out, the car went sideways through the timing lights, and nearly ended up in the fence at the track on the go around the arena. And the Street Machine guys come over and said to me after that, he said, "Can you do that again?" Because I didn't have the camera. He said, "One of your wheels, the front wheels, come up off the ground in the dirt." So that was. I said, "Yeah, don't worry about that. We won't be doing that again." So that was pretty cool. And like back them days, you had to do all the driving events. And I think it was that year that out of all the cars, I won the Spear of Spud, came second in the Motorcana, third in the 2-step, and then second in the Go Woe. This bloody little Rotary beat me in the Go Woe, little prick. But anyway, that was a pretty good go, and that was out of everybody. It wasn't just out of the cars at the Grand Champion. So they were the good days, and they were good fun, and getting out there and just caning your car in the dirt, and people would say, you've spent all that time cleaning it and detailing it and all that, and you get out and punish the shit out of it in the dirt. But that's what you had to do. That's what I built the car for. So that's what we did.
Yeah, yeah, mate. You're such a good supporter. Like not only as Summernats, as you said, you've been to everyone except one, but and still coming today with either of your cars. But I see it's so many other events through Victoria and just different events. So you've been such a great supporter over the years of all those events. Yeah, but it's good, You catch up with all the people around there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like Mark said with the family you have at drag racing. There's a lot of drag racing guys, and I mean I love my drag racing too. And you know, at Summernats, it's a good, just like catching up with the boys and the family and that you haven't seen, and you know, it's a good time, and you catch up to people and that you meet different people from all over the world. You know, I've been pretty fortunate to meet a few of the, you know, the top car builders in the world, you know, Troy Brennier, Charlie Hutton, Gene Winfield, you know, guys like that, you know.
Absolutely.
Which has all been through street machining and going to these car shows.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, and it took me a long time to work it out. I used to think it was all about the cars, but it's actually some fantastic people you meet through the whole thing, isn't it? Yeah,
and it's all walks of life. I mean, it's amazing, and you know, like my boys, you know, I mean, I just say that I got, you know, oil running through my veins and not blood, because I think anyone in the car scene, that we all got oil and fuel running through it, and not blood. But you know, my two boys, they're right into cars. They play around them, like, you know, Aaron won Summernats with his Datsun when he was 19. He's still the youngest guy that ever won it, and I think we're the only father-son team that's got the grand champions at the Summernats as well. So it's a great, and basically it's a big family.
And I was going to touch on that because I said last week that most people really only have one, maybe two cars at the most in to build, especially at an elite level. You're unreal. You've built the FC, rebuilt the FC 3 times. You had the Brome first. You got the 30. You got the black 34 Chev, which is sitting 34 Ford Coupe behind you there. Yeah. And then you've helped your boys. Both of them have got Datsuns, 510s.
Yeah.
So pretty amazing, really. But I want to touch on the last thing you built, which is tell us a little bit about the 35 Chev you built for Keys.
Yeah, well, after I won, when I debuted the FC in 2010, like we went up to the Queensland Hot Rod Show, and Keys had always looked after me and helped me out with cooling systems, etc. on the FC. So we went down to his workshop, and we were wandering through the
PWR.
Yeah, PWR up in Olmo in Queensland. Yeah, so we went and had a look at their new workshop, and it's just after they'd sort of finished it. And I was walking around with Paul, and walked up onto the roof and seen this real cool looking coupe up there. And I said, "Shit, what's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's old man's." And I'm going, "Oh." So walked over and had a look at it and checking it out. And I'd never seen one before. It ended up being a 35 Businessman's coupe. And I said, that'd be pretty cool with an LS in it and a set of center lines that dropped on the ground, and just have a cool time in it. And asked him, did he want to sell it? And he said, yeah, and he gave me a price, and I'm going, oh, shit, that's too dear. I said, 30 grand, and I thought 10 grand, that'd be all right. And I said, no, I'll pass on that. I'll find something else. And, a few years later down at Motorex, I think it was in the first one in Melbourne that just had it at Motorex in Melbourne, he asked me would I build it for him. And I sort of ummed and ahed a bit and said, did I have access to his 5-axis mill and stuff like that? And he said, oh, yeah, okay. And he asked me what sort of cost did he think it'd cost. And I gave him a price, and he said, well, that won't double, will it? And I said, oh, I hope not. You always got to have a blowout. but it did double. Plus
it did, yeah, exactly.
And well, he kept changing the ball, the ball, the line, the end line in it. So and it was a good thing. I spent 5 years and had a real good team of guys that was helping me work on it and doing a lot of work on the car. So like I said, 7,000 plus man hours went into the car, plus materials. And and he basically, when he bought it to me, he said, look, I still want it to look like a 35 Chev. And I said, I've got a pretty good, cool motor that we can put it. I've sorted that. I bought a Rex C6 Corvette. So the Rex C6, C6 Corvette came in a box trailer. Like it's just the front end, the rear end, the torque tube, the transaxle, the engine, and it was just going far out. Where's that all go? After, it'd be different if you'd ever pulled it apart, but I never even get to pull it apart. So we had to make that fit in the 35. And, and about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, Keith said to me, what do you reckon about taking the car to SEMA? And I said, oh, shit, yeah, that'd be cool. So he said, well, let's do it. So we had a few hiccups in a couple of things with the build that we got put behind for 12 months in the build. But, we took it there last year to SEMA. We ended in the Battle of the Builders, and we got to stage 3 or 4 in Battle of the Builders, which was really cool. And then while we were there, we got asked, did we enter the Chevrolet Design Awards? And I'm going, oh, what are they? So long story short, a guy there rang up a person. So we ended up into the Design Awards, and which was really cool. And we ended up taking home the Designer's Choice Award, which was unbelievable. It was just, that's got to be a bit of a highlight, that has. So
yeah, I saw the photo with all the GM people, and then I believe you got an invite to the Corvette Museum and the factory and all that as well. So yeah, we
got to meet the head designer of the Corvette, head designer of Chevrolet, and the 3-4 next guys in line. And on the Thursday night, apparently they brought the CEO over of Chevrolet and showed him the car, and he was wrapped in it as well. And what they liked about it, that I didn't try to change the shape of the car or make a hot rod out of it or whatever, but it's a pretty cool car. I actually drove it the other day, so it's rang up Keys and said, "Oh, I've driven your car. It drives pretty cool." He said, "Oh, thanks for that." So,
mate, that's a fantastic effort, and it looked awesome over there at SEMA, and plenty of people looking at it. Every time I come around, there was heaps of people there looking at, taking photos and videos. It was awesome. I was just thinking when you was talking there about the comparison, not that you have to have a favourite, but is that car, or I reckon winning the Maguire Superstars Champion of the Decade, I reckon that would have been pretty special, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, when you announced that, when I won that, like I think I was on cloud 27 still, because I think I just finished doing about 48 hours straight working on the car to get it to MotorX. So that's got to be a highlight, winning car of the decade. And when I rebuilt the FC, I didn't rebuild it as in I want to build the best show car or whatever. I just built it the way that I thought I wanted to build it, and go back and have a go at winning Grand Champion again. So, which I did. So, and then people didn't believe that I took it out the dirt and flogged the shit out of it again. But Michelle always reminds me that I shouldn't drive it as hard as I got. But hey, man, once you get in the car, your adrenaline goes and your foot goes to the floor, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and just for people that don't know, that was what we had in 2010. We had 10 superstars, Maguire Superstars champions. So everybody came back and competed, and you actually won that car of the decade. So and next year we're actually having for the 2020 or this year next event. So everybody can compete again. So I bet you're looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, and I'll have the FC and the Chevs there. So the FC is basically right to go. I've been spending a bit of time on it, and it's because we should be having the show shortly. It's basically ready to go anyway, and I've just finishing off a bit of stuff on the Chev, and so it'll be a good show. And you got to say to the people out there too that want to see the Chev, if they actually want to see it, they need to go to Maguire's to show car superstars and have a look at it in Melbourne, because that's probably the only car show it's going to go to in the country.
Yeah. No one Keys. That's probably right. He'll just want to get it up there and he'll drive it and put it.
Drive it through all the cow shit up there. So.
All right, mate. So just finally there. So what's the future hold for you? You got any more cars in you?
Yeah, just out there. That's my little workshop just to the side here where I built the FC and Aaron Statson and my hot rod. And yeah, I've got a Chevy truck in there that I'm doing for Den. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I've just got the chassis in now, and we went out the farm the other day and got the truck. It's it's an early 48 to 54 Chevy truck. So yeah, so it'll be a pretty cool thing. We're putting a ZR1 quad cam Corvette engine in it. So he's got a brand new one of them sitting in the crate that's been he's had it for about 5 years. So yeah, that'll be different because I don't think there's any other cars in Australia actually with one of them engines in it. So
wow,
so it'll be different. Mate. Yeah,
that's awesome. Like as I said, it's very unique that people have got more than 2 cars in them, and you've still got some in you yet. So well done, fantastic.
Yeah, well, the boys, it's cheap labour for me, they reckon. It's easy to get me to do it.
All right, mate.
Old man will do it.
Yeah, mate, I thank you for your time, and thank you for actually your whole input to the whole industry, sport, whatever you want to call it. It's been awesome, mate. You've been great, so congratulations.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like a big family, like Mark said, and it's just it's good to catch up to everybody around the Nats. And the thing is, sometimes at the Nats you don't get to catch up to everybody, especially if you get a car in the elite hall, because you're just going from one end to the other. But the last few years when I've had my 34 there, I've just been hanging around and chilling out and talking to people. It's really cool. It's a different thing when you're a car there as an entrant and not have it in getting judged and into the elite hall. It's just a different deal altogether, which is a good thing. And everybody that's actually been showing cars for a while, if they step back and just go and enjoy the event as just cruising around the track and stuff like that. It took me a lot of years before I could actually do a few laps in the car, because you always had the car in the show and you weren't out there doing it. So and even doing the city cruise and stuff like that, the old 34, it's good fun. So
yeah, fantastic, mate. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for your whole input for the whole sport.
Yeah, it's fun, mate. Yeah,
it's been great. All right,
great. Thank you.
All right, Jack, we're going to shoot to a skid break now.
Skid ad. This skid ad is brought to you by Visit Canberra. Mad. All right, welcome back from the skid break. That was John O'Kelly's 355. We are here for our crazy quiz game show with Mark and Dale. We've got our art directors done up some art. There's Dale there with your VX, mate. You don't know what's going on there with the hairdo, right? Sweet. And we got Mark here with the pink pro. And that's, I don't know what that is. Is that a toe hook? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is. It's going on my rear end. But
there's not much blower going on.
I'm down with it.
I think you order your own blower standing on the bottom there. That's it. There we go.
As long as I'm not on fire, I'm okay with that.
You're not on fire. Totally not on fire. Here's how it works, guys. You both get a buzzer word. Dale, yours is blown. And Mark, yours is spoolie boy. So...
Oh, so man.
You've got to buzz in.
He owns a turbo car. That's not very fair.
You want to give us a test how they go?
Blower.
Spolly boy.
That's the highlight of the show, though. I'll wait all podcast for that.
I'm down with this.
I'll ask 3 questions. First to buzz in gets 3 seconds to answer. If you can't answer, the other person gets an answer. You guys will be playing for people chosen from the comments, and they will win a season pass to Summernats 34. Dale, you're playing for Corey McAuliffe. Mark, you're playing for Andrew McCartney. I'll be listening to this.
Andrew McCartney's my bloody next door neighbour. I think Owen actually knows him too.
I do. He might give him a ticket, Dale. If he doesn't win.
I'll give him a ticket anyway.
All right, I'll be listening to who buzzes in first. You guys ready?
Yo, go.
All right. How many cars were involved in the burnout world record in 2019? Mark.
85.
No.
Dale.
140.
No, you both.
126.
Spolly boy.
120.
Closer, so I get the
126.
126. Nobody gets nothing. All right, you ready?
Yep.
What year did the Summernats City Cruise restart?
Blower.
Dale.
2004.
No.
No, it was Summernats 33.
No, wrong. 2014.
Oh. We're terrible at this, aren't we?
All right.
Give me.
Race to the bottom.
It's like the last question playoff here.
Okay.
Ready? Multiple choice. How many cars rock up the Summernats on average each year? 1,000?
2000.
Dale.
2000.
You win.
Oh, rigged.
Your neighbour's going to be cranky at you, mate.
He'll get over it.
Sorry, Andrew.
Corey McAuliffe wins a season pass to Summernats, and because we're generous, Andrew's going to win a season
Give
pass.
Andrew one as well. Come on.
We give him
He can't afford it after he's building his Camaro. So
Yeah, exactly.
just you guys. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Do you guys want to give your socials a plug? You start with you, Dale.
yeah, like our Facebook, it's Castle Exhaust and Performance. Instagram, Castle Performance. You can get us through either one of them.
Yeah, sweet. Mark, you want to give your socials away to everybody so they can follow what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Check us out on the AC Dalco Pro Slammer drag racing page. You can also check out the Motorsport Connections page or MSC and Mark on Insta.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming on today, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
No
Stay
worries.
safe.
Thanks for having us.
Skid ad. This skid ad is brought to you by Rare Spares.
Who doesn't love skids?
All right, welcome back after another skid break. That was David Cafone and One Fat Rat. All right, we've got another competition from giveaway. But last week's winner was Craig Dowler from Chewton, Victoria. He was the winner of the Maguire's Hybrid Ceramic Liquid Wax. There's obviously only half a bottle left because Webby hogged it all and used it on his car the shed.
It's awesome stuff, mate.
This week we've got another giveaway. It's a K&N cabin filter for, your car, obviously. K&N's line of washable replacement cabin air filters are designed to filter incoming air using state-of-the-art filtration technology. They're washable, reusable and durable, and certainly the last cabin filter you'll need for your car. Owen, what's next week's question? Take it away, mate.
All right, mate. For the competition, it is, who is the burnout master from Summernats 28? I was in 2015. And this was a little bit from left field, but awesome winner. So let's see. And so if you know, or even if you think you know, we want you to go to podcast@summernats.com.au.
Absolutely. And I think I did drop that off at the end of the quiz there. So the guys that won the quiz, I was getting too excited. The guys that won the quiz, please email podcast. Anybody that wins anything on this show, please email podcast@summernats.com.au. I believe we are here with Marv. Mate, what's happening?
Oh, just hanging out, listening to a couple of absolute champions regale us with tales of Summernats past. I was actually in the Dyno cell. Most times I'm camped out in the Dyno cell. I'm the pastiest member of the Street Machine team, so it's safest for me to live in the Dyno cell over Summernats. And I was speaking with hand signals for a while after Mr. Hinchelwood's Pro Slammer had its run. Can confirm that was the single loudest car I have ever been near in my 20-odd years at Summernats.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It went right through. I remember just going, the eardrums, not just the eardrums, just making everything.
Anyone who's been around cars, you kind of a guy with a 500 horsepower car, a guy with a 700 horsepower car. You're standing next to 3,000 horsepower, not in a drag style. It's not like a Formula One car or some kind of bespoke high-end racing car. It's a high-end racing car in its own right, don't get me wrong, but it's it's not something that's being driven by a $50 million a year contract driver. This is push rods and just air being crammed into a gigantic engine and making absolute noise only maybe 10 metres from everyone who's sitting there watching it. And I just remember, Mark did his run and everyone's sitting there with all their hair's blown back and all this ash on their face and everyone's kind of not sure what just happened. It's that scene from a Yahoo Serious movie. Everyone's kind of do we clap? Do we just cry? What happens right now? It was the most amazing thing ever. And then, you know what? Full props to Dale and the Castle Hill Performance team for coming back this year, and they sent it to 11 this year. They didn't have to do that. There is no such thing as a small crankshaft failure in an engine, yet they risked it all for nothing. They just wanted to put on a show for people. So, full credit to both those guys. They're just they turned on an absolute show. It was brilliant.
Right off the back of that, mate, I'm sure you're boiling with a rant.
Look, I'll tell you now. I've been really trying to be positive in my mindset. Everyone's cooped up at the moment. Everyone's having a pretty tough time. It's not exactly it's not exactly a field of meadows that we can all go skip through at the moment, right? We've all got pressures on us. I've really been trying to be positive, and then I read comments on the internet. Guys, we're all in this together. If there's a lowered ute, someone comes in and goes, "Oh, you ruined that. How does it get over speed humps?" It's they're called airbags. They've only been around for 40 years, you moron. Come on, don't make me hate you because you haven't researched something. Let's take this time to expand our minds and look into different scenes. If you're into pro street cars, maybe look up the history of low riding. It's really interesting. It's I can tell you now, it's fascinating. If you're a lowrider guy, look up the history of pro street cars and how guys look up the history of the NHRA fuel ban. Just expand your mind just a little bit, guys. We've got nothing else better to do. So instead of wasting all your energy just arguing on the internet about stuff that doesn't matter, get in there and learn some stuff. You might get triggered into this whole new interest that you might find, and you'll come back next year with the first 1,500 horsepower lowrider that's painted like a traditional custom car. Who knows? You might create something rad. Just embrace it. Don't shut out. Embrace it. We're all in this together. We're all car enthusiasts against Elon Musk and all those bloody latte-sipping, Prius-driving, man-bun-wearing, inner-city hipster. I can't say what I really want to say because it's still a PG time slot. So I'll refrain from exactly calling them exactly what I want. Pelican touches. They're flagrant pelican touches. But we can all come together and hate electric cars as one.
Together.
So let's do that. I mean, maybe I'm just out on my own here. Maybe I'm just some.
How many years do you think it'll be before we see a Tesla on the skid pad?
I actually saw a video. Some cheeky Bankstown people from Western Sydney, they took one out and they were cutting hoops in an intersection.
I did see that actually on Facebook, yeah.
You know, boy, did it create a conflict inside of me, because part of me is going, you can't cheer a Tesla on doing a skid, but then part of me is going, you know what? The Bogans have taken your Teslas. What are you going to do, chai latte sippers? We've got your cars now.
How long before we see a blown one, honestly? How long before we see a big block blown one?
Oh,
it's got to happen.
I was wandering around SEMA in 2017. Sorry to name drop like a bloody pleb, but I was wandering around SEMA and my mate and I came across a camo Prius. It was just hidden up the back of the main hall. And we nearly tripped over this thing. And we're like, oh, what's this joker doing here? And then we walked around the front of it and we looked in and, oh, hang on, that's got 15 by 10 inch weld. That's got weld beadlocks on the back, and it's got a Hellcat 707 horsepower short motor that they'd stacked with a bloody, I think it was a 4 or 5 litre Whipple on top of it.
Right.
That's my kind of Prius. If you're going to build a Prius, that's building a Prius to me.
Perfect.
Awesome.
You want to give away some stuff, Marv? What do you reckon?
Look, you know what? Like, Andy had a word to me before, and he reckons that there's 3 people out there who've won a season pass at Summernats. So if we've got James B, Danny Hallam, and Oz Car Scene, flick the boys at the podcast an email. So J-Benz, what was that email address again?
podcast@summernats.com.au.
So you flick them an email and tell them that you've won yourself a pass, and we'll
know if they're fake emails.
The bourbon slushy hangover is free with that pass, guys.
That's right.
Everyone does it on their first trip. But if your name is Alex...
Sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, if your name's Alex Cross, you've won the big prize, which is a double season pass and a Street Machine merch pack. So not only do you get free entry to Summernats, you get a bunch of clothes that you can then put on to cover the sunburn and cover the dust and really get into the Summernats, like all the music, all the car show, all the burnout smoke, everything that comes with Summernats.
The merch was great this year at Summernats. I remember going to the stand and I was talking with Joseph there, and they had heaps of new shirts this year, a few new designs. It was cranking pretty good.
Every year we do a new shirt. So Ryan Ford's done a bunch for us. I've got one of his favourites, the blown Hemi. Who doesn't love a blown Hemi on a T-shirt?
Yeah, nice.
My wife, for one, but that's another story.
Exactly, and a black one at that.
Yeah, it's just yet another black hot rod shirt. But you know what?
I got my mate Chubby's garage shirt on today.
There you go.
I hope you've got the polished strut tops to go along with it, J-Benz.
I'll put them right here, mate. There we go.
But no, every year we try to do a bunch of merch and try to give back a little bit. You know, Street Machine's been there since the beginning, obviously with Jeff Paradise and some absolute monsters of the scene, some absolute heroes.
Absolutely.
Of the scene.
If you want to see some of that merch from this year, so you can find it on the street videos in the Summernats YouTube channel. Because I did a bit of a visit past the stand, so that was a bit of fun. Poking Joseph in the nose with one of those pointy finger things and whatever else.
I hope you stopped and checked out Broads' LC Tirana, because that thing's a hero of
absolutely. Japan I saw on Facebook today.
Yeah, so that was a new thing this week, was that so Street Machine's deputy editor, or features editor, our own Andrew Broadley, he's got a supercharged 5-litre LC Tirana that he dug out of a field outside of Mudgee when he was 15 years old, and has built this thing into what it is today, which is an object of wonder. And as it turned out, he's been tagged in this post on Facebook. Some Japanese bloke saw it at the World Time Attack Challenge in Sydney and loved it. And why wouldn't you? It's got a Harrop blown injected 304 in it. It's a genuine LC GTR. It's hothouse green. It's got tough wheels. Who wouldn't love that car?
Yeah, it's a cool piece. It's a cool piece of kit. That's for sure.
And Broads is a great guy. I think
great fella. I remember I pulled a bloody. I was helping him push it up into a garage once, and I pulled something in my knee wasn't right for about 6 months. So thanks for that, Broads.
Invoices in the mail, right?
That's right. Thanks heaps for coming on tonight, Marv. Appreciate it, mate. We know you cook up these all week.
No
Thanks,
worries,
Marv.
guys.
Good on you, mate.
We'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah,
awesome.
Cook something up for us, mate. 100%.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate. All right, sweet. Owen, what's happening, mate?
Yeah, just look, always good. Just hearing the different people and the different tribes they come from. Mark and Dale were great. I thought there'd be a fair bit of banter, and it was great. And great listen to Fitzy there. I mean, obviously I've known him a long time, and just to reminisce a little bit. But he's amazing that after all this time can still build a car the level of that 35 Chevy. I don't know whether you saw it, but make sure you come to America to see it. It is absolutely top shelf.
Yeah, and to do it so many times over and over, because you know yourself, you've been to every single one, and you're the main guy there. Like for that situation, the car sometimes it must be, by the hair off a camel's back, the difference. Look, one week we probably should do it with touch on a bit of that budget, just how close Absolutely.
It is. 1 week,
100%. All right, just before we go, we really want to see pictures from everybody in terms of. Write it out, hashtag write it out, from what everybody's been up to during the week. We want to see what you've been up to. So send us your images and stuff in relation to that. I believe at the moment there's a HQ up on the screen, or it's just been on. That's Joshua. It's his HQ unit, and Josh hopes to be at Summernats 34 with the car ready to go. It certainly looks like it'll smash a few tyres, or it'll be pretty nice in the show hall. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Webby, I believe you've picked out some people from the events that are coming up in terms of entrance and stuff.
Yeah, I have. It's really interesting after your little rave there with Mars, because the guy I've got for Red Centre Nats is entrant number 73, Hunter Murray. He's from the Northern Territory, and he's got a Tesla.
Nice.
So there you go. But it's really cool. And look, we've got to embrace some of this stuff. And I was reading on his entry there that he's having to have a few mods by then, so I'll be really interested to see that. For Motor X, I've got number 88, entrant number 88, Darren Wishart. He's got a fantastic blue LJ Tirana. That'll be in the pro comp section. And for Summernats, I've got entrant 123, which is Kylie Garrett. She's from Victoria. Got a brand new 66 fastback Mustang, which was originally a right-hand drive car. So that was all. It's all in metal. The photos there, I guess Jack's putting up, and that's going to be a really cool car. And then for Rocky Nats, got entrant number 94, Terry Billette, with an absolute killer blue Pro HZ Kingswood sedan. So a little bit of everything there, and just keep those entries coming in for all our events. We've got those 4 big events, and you never know, next week you might get featured.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the picks for Write It Out, anything you want to send us, send it to podcast@summernats.com.au. So don't forget that tickets for Summernats 2021 and entries are on sale right now. We can't wait for January to be here. Isn't that right, Webby? I certainly
100%. Can't wait.
Every week I think I say the same thing, but I just cannot wait to get back there. I watched during the week, I reminisced watching some of the old Summernats videos, and especially with the Sunday watch party that happens every Sunday at the moment, featuring content at 2 p.m. Watching that, just it's getting the blood pumping, that's for sure, mate.
Yeah, and I got some big stuff coming up in for our podcasts and interviews. I've actually been talking to a few of the top car builders in the US. So
wow,
all that to look forward to in the next few weeks as well.
Okay, awesome. So everybody, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Obviously, keep reaching out to your mates, like we're reaching out to the car community. The same thing. It's okay, like we always say, not to feel all right during this time. Think positive. Get on the FaceTime and stuff like that, and call people up and see how they're going. That's it for Summernats podcast episode 4, Webby.
Next week, who we got?
Next week we have.
I can't wait. You're going to interview Mick Brasher.
That's right. I was just about to say, yeah. We got burnout master Mick, burnout champion master Mick Brasher,
and champion bloke as well.
Absolutely, we've got Flinty on as well.
Yeah, Flinty.
We've got Mark Trueno from Street Effects, and we've also got on Jesse from who's called Shook. He's a bit of a rapper and he's very popular on Twitch. So we've got to talk to those guys. Jesse was at this Summernats this year, and he was featuring and giving the content away to everybody there live. So awesome. All right, thanks, Webby.
Good on you, mate. See you next week.
Appreciate it. We'll see.
Next Tuesday, we've got a mad podcast. Burnout Master Mick Brasher, Flinty, Twitch superstar Shook, Mark from Street FX, Marv from Street Machine. What a lineup. Join me and Webby next Tuesday at 8:30.